What is up, everyone? It is United Weather here with another weather forecast video. And in today's video, it is going to be my 2022 to 2023 winter forecast. Now, I know that basically every meteorologist, every weather forecaster loves doing these every year. It's one of my favorite parts of winter, is creating these forecasts and kind of seeing how it matches up to the season at the end, which I will be doing. I will be making a video at the end of the season, and I will probably be referencing this a lot when we talk about snowstorms in this winter. So one thing I do want to point out before we get started is don't take this to heart, right? I mean, if I put you in below average and you want an average winter, it's nothing. It's just personally what my looking at the models and looking at the data, what I think will happen. And one more thing after that is that really this could be completely wrong, right? I'm not saying that everyone's going to get a very above average winter in the very above average area. You could be in the above average area and you could get a below average winter. This is purely a forecast, and it's just something fun that I like to do every year. And I decided to show you guys. So with that being said, I will get right into this map that is on screen. So as you can see, I have an above average area here highlighted for most of the northeast, not most of the northeast, all the northeast, as well as the basically the northern United States, I'll just say, is above average. Um, Now, I think the Northeast, especially, you guys are going to be getting basically slammed with nor'easters this year. And we will be talking about that later in the video when we go over some of the long range models and go over why exactly I put certain areas in the forecast. Now, looking at the average area, most of the central United States is an average. Parts of Southern California, even dipping into places in Utah, Colorado, that area up there, even South Dakota, parts of there, I put an average as well. I honestly don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. Usually you don't have very extreme winters. It's going to really just be a normal winter there for the central United States. And of course, you have your below average area here. I feel like the southern United States usually has below average winters. I just don't know why. It's just, or at least maybe the past few years, they have below average winters. I know Texas last winter, I think you guys had a pretty nice winter. But for this year, it looks like it is going to be relatively quiet and below average in the south. Then we have another area of above average in the western United States, places like California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon areas over there. And last but not least, we have an area of very above average in the northwestern United States. Now, this is where I could expect to see lots of polar vortexes, lots of these kind of storms that develop here, and basically dump lots of snow. I'd expect to see a few blizzards in this area this year, especially. So obviously, I'm going for pretty average, maybe above average winter overall across the United States, and we'll be going into the models and showing you guys why exactly I am kind of thinking this and show you my logic behind it right now. So here we are now on the CFS, which is basically a climate model here for the long range. And first off, I hope you guys do enjoy the new layout. I have been experimenting with some things. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments if you guys like this layout better than just showing you the plain screen. So starting off here, as you can see, this is for the month of October. Now it is relatively below average for much of the United States. As you can see, this yellowish orangish color here is below average, and the green is above average. And this is in terms of precipitation. And that's another thing I want to point out in my winter forecast in the map there. That is actually precipitation. So if you're in above average, that's not saying you're getting above average temperatures. That's above average, like snowfall or just wintry precipitation there. So that's one thing I might have forgot to point out if you guys got confused on that. So as you can see, month of October, relatively quiet. Take a look at the temperature anomaly here. As you can see, relatively the same. It is almost all through the United States is above average. And you have this little area down here, which is like on average, maybe even below average in terms of temperatures. But it's not much to worry about. Because maybe in the mountains out here in the west there'd be something to worry about. But winter doesn't really start for many of these places that are above average just yet. So we won't really have to worry about that until we get into November. And as we can see here, November is a little bit more of the same as October, right? You have this really large area here of below normal precip. You do have this little area here in the, oops, I circled the wrong area there. You have this little area here in the northwestern United States of above normal precipitation that is trying to kind of sneak its way in. Now, This could maybe cause some, enhanced snowfall in the mountains in the Rocky Mountains up there in the Northwest. Um, but I don't think it'll be anything too major. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. And obviously, like I said, you have your below average precip here in the southern United States. You also have basically, I'd say about on average here in the northeastern United States. And obviously, it's still November. You're not going to get any of those big nor'easters or southern sliders right now. So, there's nothing really to worry about here yet in terms of winter. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the temperatures, as you can see, it is once again pretty above average. I mean, you were talking in this big area here. This is, 5 degrees above average for your temperatures. That's pretty significant for November. So honestly, I think we're gonna have a quiet start to the winter. I think that most of the snowstorms, especially in the east and the northern United States, I think that most of the storms you see are going to be in January and February. So we will be looking at that in a second. But obviously, same story as October in terms of temperatures, very above average for especially the central United States and the western United States for November. And here we are now taking a look at December. This is where things kind of start to kick off and winter really begins here on the latest model runs. So as you can see, you have your below average temperatures here, below average precipitation rather here, sorry, in the southern United States. And now you also start to see these are about all on average here throughout most of the central United States, portions of the Northeast and the northern United States. You have some above average precipitation here for December, and we're going to see this kind of push down a little bit further across the northern United States here as we continue into January and February, which we'll be getting to in a second. But taking a look at the temperatures for December now, as you can see, it kind of matches with the precipitation, which is honestly a good thing. You want to see that in winter. So you have, on average, if not a little bit above average temperatures in the Northeast and Northern United States. You have this little area here that's maybe an inch, or not an inch, but rather a degree or two below average, which is a good thing. Then you have your temperatures here, which are above average down here in the Southern United States. As you can see, 3 or 5 degrees above average. That's gonna prevent some of that snow there in the Southern United States if you even get any in December. But going ahead and taking a look at January now, as you can see, we have above average precipitation for much of the area that I highlighted earlier as very above average winter season here. So much of the northern plains, the northwestern United States, even some places in California here with above average precip. You also have a little area here in the southern United States with Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, that area down there showing above average precip. However, that's not going to matter much due to the temperatures, which we will show you guys in a second. But Northeast, you guys are basically on average. In the Mid Atlantic, you guys are probably going to be below average precipitation for the month of January. But I'm not really concerned about that. I think my biggest concern here is going to be the nor'easters possibly that come off the coast here. And the reason for that is actually because of the inactive hurricane season we've had. There is just so much energy sitting off the northeastern coast of the United States and basically all the eastern coast. You have not had any like real tropical systems. We had Earl, that was a bit too far out though, but there's so much energy sitting in that water there in the atmosphere off the coast that really, if it gets used here by a storm, it could be causing some problems. Now, taking a look at January here for the temperatures, as you can see, Northeast here, you guys have some below average temperatures here, which is obviously a good thing. Much of the northern United States, northern plains as well, you guys are seeing those above average temperatures for the month of January. And of course, southern United States, central United States, you guys are going to be seeing on average, maybe even some below average temperature or above average temperatures rather for much of the southern United States. And that is why I said it is going to be a average winter season for the central United States, and for the southern United States, it is going to be definitely a below average winter season. And last but not least, here we're taking a look at February now. This is the precipitation for February, and as you can see, it's really honestly on average for most of the United States. You have some places here in like Florida and the southeastern coast that are below average in terms of precipitation. Northeast, you guys are above average. Deep south, you guys are also above average. Even some places here in northern Alabama and southern Tennessee, you could see some very above average precipitation here in the month of February, as well as the northwestern United States, also above average. So generally on average here, for much of the United States. However, like I said, Southeast, you guys are going to be below average in February as well. Now, last but not least, these are the temperatures for February, and it's mostly above average for the entire United States. I'll just say that. You have your obviously your biggest spot here of above average temperatures is in the southern United States, places like Texas, and the deep south as well, even reaching up into the northern plains and the northern United States here. Even though you guys are expected to get an above average winter here, you guys could still see probably a slow winter in February and maybe even come March. So I'm going to show you guys March really quickly. I'm not gonna like include this as really part of the forecast just because it's pretty far out, like 5 or 4 months out, whatever. It gets pretty inaccurate here. So here is March, and as you can see, basically most of the United States in terms of temperatures is on average. Once again, southern United States is above average temperatures. And if we look at the precip here really quickly, as you can see, it is basically the same as February. So with that being said, that is pretty much it for this forecast video. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you guys did enjoy this forecast, make sure to leave a like, make sure to comment on the video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel because I will be posting lots of winter content this year. So you guys know all the latest information on every snowstorm, every blizzard that is impacting the United States. So with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe and peace out.